Hello everyone, welcome back. You are now hearing my voice, which is good or bad. Really depends on how much I yap around about. Today is the first of the 9 breakdown videos that I'm going to be doing. I've released all of the showcases. I really hope you guys enjoyed those. I'm going to be watching through them, and I guess I'm just going to be breaking down my composition process, my thoughts behind everything, so it should be pretty fun. So this is the first work in the collection. This is called Descent. It's the story of the fall. So if you're familiar with the Bible, then you're very familiar with Genesis chapter 3, which is the fall of humanity, right? Getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden and all that sort of stuff. But you can also take this to mean a representation of a breakdown of a relationship, right? One that was initially really good, but then betrayal and mistrust enter into the relationship, and it's broken. Yeah, you can think about this in many different ways. I try and make it so that it can suit lots of different palettes, but in my mind, yes, I was thinking of the fall when I was creating this. I was writing this around the same time that someone went through a breakup and, you know, they cheated on them, so, you know, the sense of betrayal and all that sort of stuff is very fresh in my mind when I was writing this. I was also taking out the bins one day and the melody came in my head. Can't really explain it any better than that. That's just what happened. Yeah, I guess that's enough preamble. Let's watch myself play, and I'm gonna say a few things. Okay, so we have the le motif. So this motif is, I'd say, humanity's theme. It's very simple. It's just a descending run. Right? So that's basically the gist of it. So the title Descent works two ways. It's both a descending melody, but also it's about humanity's descent from being with God and not being with God. I wanted to start this collection with simplicity. I didn't want to, you know, over harmonize and over complicate things just for the sake of things. I had a melody and I thought, what is the most elegant and simple way that I can arrange this to present to the audience, you know, first hearing it. So, you know, I just did. Right? So, like, you know, very simple harmonies, but I wanted to make them effective. So I was thinking about, you know, a counterpoint. Was there any like little counter melodies I can add in there? Just some little, you know, lines that lead harmonically into the next chords and everything like that. So yeah, that was a lot of trial and error. I'm not very good with my oral skills, right? So, you know, from getting here to out here takes, I would say, a little bit longer than a seasoned composer or musician. I spent many hours just being like, yeah, that sort of thing. Okay, so we have another repetition here. I took a page out of Chopin's book, altering it every time it repeats, just a little bit, with maybe some embellishment or slight variation in the melody. So, I mean, I guess that's not really typical of Chopin, but I had him in mind when I was thinking of it, right? Right, a little bit more low end. Nice open arpeggios. So pretty simple. So this is the waltzy section, the dancey section. So we have a time signature shift to 3/4, and then I think the previous bit was in 4. Yeah, that's in 4. Yeah, cool. Now this motif is symbolic of God dancing with humans. There was like perfect harmony, and the relationship was unmarred by rebellion or sin or anything like that. It's a little callback to there's a theological term called perichoesis. It's derived from the Greek word which means to dance, and that's a way of thinking of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, the Trinity, that they're indwelling with each other, right? They are always together and they're always working together. It's like a dance, right? So that's kind of like a callback to that, right? So humanity and God there was a better relationship, that there was more harmonious, right? So you have the... So I kind of I like having bits of musical questions in the music, right? Right, there's like little elements where it's not quite together. And then it leads back into the humanity motif. We have a repeat of the A section, I guess, the first melody, right? So we have a bit more variation, there's more embellishments, right? And then out of Chopin's book, there's a lot of tuplet runs, right? In this recording, I think I hesitate because I think I was just confused with where I was. Yeah, not a good performance on my part. That was a bit better. I'm still working on, getting the evenness of the touch, not of rhythm. This is one of those tuplet runs where it's not mathematically, a tuplet. It's more of just you need to play X number of notes between this note and this note. Pretty lazy on my part, but I'm the one that wrote it, and I can be lazy if I want to. And then it goes back into the waltz part. again, we have a repeat of a section to make it different, more embellishments. And also, towards the end of this waltz section, we have a coda to the section, right? There's like an extra ending section where the chords are a little bit different, and of course, more inspiration from Chopin. I really love his work in, I think it's the end of his third nocturne. I think that's the one in B. And the ending is just so beautiful because it uses the same melodic and rhythmic elements, but it's just reharmonized to create a really beautiful coda. It doesn't sound out of place, it just sounds really, really like, ooh, like this is something new, right? So, you know, you got the... So it's like embellished. More embellishment. Okay, so here's the reharmon. This is the coda. And it starts here. So we have a bit more suspense on the 5, and it slows down, which means we can go to the minor. So this is the section where the fruit has been eaten, and so we have that act of betrayal, that act of disobedience, that rebellion in humanity's heart. You have this episode where God is going through the garden and he asks where Adam and Eve are, and you have this sort of round of questioning. He goes like, oh, what have you done? And, you know, Adam and Eve, they just start pointing fingers and they start making these excuses and everything like that. So this is the section where it all kind of goes down in a minor mode for obvious reasons, right? I love the that semitone descent, you know. Right. You know, as you would say that the falling semitone contributes to a lot of the sad feelings or the, you know, bittersweetness or emotionally moving. It's just a very moving interval, especially when it's drawn out and used really, really well. So I put in this. It adds a little bit of a dissonance or like an unsettling of the balance type thing, right? So this kind of is like God's question, right? And then the answer is... So I tried to make the answer section to be kind of like circling, you know, goes down, then up, then down, then up again. Like they're kind of like circling around each other and they're just kind of like making up excuses and that sort of thing. So that's kind of like the thought behind that. And then more questioning. Of course, when it repeats, you know, yeah, add a little bit of embellishment in there just to make it different. So we have like this element of like pride here. there's lots of commentaries that state, you know, the first sin and most sin, or if not all, stems from an innate pride that, you know, oneself is higher than God, better than God, that they, you know, like they'll say no to God's instruction and that they'll live their own life, right? It's a rejection of God and a elevation of the self over God. I mean, you could talk for ages about, you know, what sin is and where that stems from in the heart and everything like that, but for this composition I wanted to focus specifically on the pride of it, especially in that section. The whole section repeats again, but I think the left hand is a lot more active. We have a repeat of it. The left hand is double, right? That sort of thing. But also you have the melody is now octaves, and they're separated. So we have, you know, it's a repeat of everything. It's more intense. I wanted to make it sound kind of stormy, right? Because, like, I don't know, just whenever I think of God's wrath, you know, I just think of, like, storm clouds and rah, that sort of thing. Which is kind of underdoing it, because it's actually quite terrifying. And then, you know, at the end we have a run going upwards. I think it's a melodic minor going up, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, so... Oh, that's funny. I never thought I'd actually use that ever. I think I just did it by mistake, because I was meant to do... Yeah. Right, and that's a more harmonic minor, right? Yeah, funny that, isn't it? Cool. Okay, so we have a return of the humanity theme, but now it's been reharmonized in that minor, right? To see that, like, humanity is now misplaced. It's displaced, they've gone into rebellion, there is now sin in the world. This is like a variation of the right. So it's it's like signaling that, like, hey, this is danger, like, this is bad, right? Things have gotten really, really bad now, right? And instead of that, we have a very Chopin-y tuplet run. I think it's many tens of tuplets, so it's... which is goes kind of like that. Again, my balancing in my right hand for those tuplets was not on, so that's something that I do need to practice. Like, cause I want it to be flowy. I don't want it to sound like a. Right, that's an exaggerated version, but you know, you kind of want it to be. Like it's all part of one line, like one sort of phrase and one breath. So that's a matter of finger balancing. I mean, it's good that we're doing this so I can see what I have to work on, you know, when I'm practicing for the actual recording, so yee. This is the moment where humanity is cast out of the garden. I quote Rachmaninoff from his prelude in C# minor. Very famous one. That's like the one about he had a nightmare that he heard funeral bells and he looked in the coffin and he saw himself, which is pretty messed up. And I have to be careful with this because it's easy to just. I gotta be careful not to, you know, use the sustain pedal a bit too much, which is a tendency that I tend to do. Really working on the balance, also the phrasing as well, you know, and also the tempo as well, because, you know, when you're doing fast passages, of course you're going to have a tendency of speeding up, right? So a lot of control and reservation is needed to play these, especially these very juvenile sections of music, right? It's very flash and it's very dramatic, and yeah. But speaking of dramatic, let's look at the ending of this piece. Very juvenile, right? So we have fragmented rundown of the humanity theme, right? Going back, of course. So it's just following the main melody, and it's going up and down the harmonic minor scale of E flat, right? Which is the relative of G flat, which is what this piece starts in. Right? Yeah, we have a very physically demanding last bit, and of course a very stereotypically dramatic end to a classical, you know, piano piece. Right, that sort of thing. Something definitely that you would expect a 20-year-old to write in his angst. But you know what? I think it's fun to be juvenile every once in a while. And I think the next one, I would consider myself a bit more mature in my writing, in that I'm a lot more restrained and sensitive. Because the good thing about writing all of these in the sequence and continuously writing these pieces is that, you know, if I were ever to play them as a set, which I really hope to do so, if a piece ends in a physically demanding way, the next part, the next piece will begin rather slowly, and hopefully the stamina needed to play the whole collection is a little bit more manageable in this composition creation order. So yeah, I guess that's the end of this first breakdown. I'm really sorry that I didn't get to go too into detail of the chords used. Maybe I'll do that a little bit more in the other videos. But yeah, as this piece is a bit more narratively driven, I thought I'd focus more on the story and how my thought process behind the composition of this piece worked. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope it maybe added a little something to your enjoyment of the music, or enhanced your enjoyment if you did enjoy. I really hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video, the next breakdown.